leading a new generation of Republican. This is the Grand New Party Update.
Wednesday last week, the top 11 candidates in the Republican primaries gathered in the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library for the second televised debate. The event lasted for 3 hours on CNN and drew just under 23 million viewers, according to Nielsen Fast national ratings data. At the time of the debate, both Donald Trump and Ben Carson maintained upward momentum in the polls. Donald Trump opened the first answer with an immediate attack on Rand Paul, saying the senator didn't belong in the debate because he was last in the polls with 1%. Now, first off, Dennis, I want to know what poll he's looking at, because Real Clear Politics has Paul above Scott Walker, John Kasich, and Chris Christie before the debate happened.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where he's getting those numbers. He must be watching MSNBC or some other liberal Hillary Clinton pro news organization, because I haven't seen any polls like that.
But I will say this, 3-hour debate, CNN, and I want to say the very first hour might as well just not been televised because it was more drama than anything else.
Yeah, it was kind of like this interesting, they didn't even get to a majority of the candidates in the first hour. And, I think John Kasich later in the debate said it pretty well. And he said, if I was sitting at home, I would tune out because of all the back and forth nonsense.
I get what they were trying to. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to, be creative, be like, oh, we're going to get their words against each other and pit them against each other to get some sort of dialogue going. And a lot of people call that entertainment, and to an extent it is. I do feel like if you're going to have a debate, getting these people to debate each other kind of contrasts their ideas a little more. So I get what CNN was trying to do. I think they failed miserably, though. Right.
Well, with CNN, if you just have this nice, polite debate or discussion, me and you would like that, but that doesn't sell the ratings. They want to see Donald Trump be Donald Trump. They want to see Chris Christie versus Rand Paul. They want to see Jeb Bush against Trump. They want to see that back and forth. But people are, I just want a more sophisticated conversation.
Now, I have to say, in the debate, I think the people that did the best were Carly Fiorina and Marco Rubio. Those were my two top winners.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Carly Fiorina. I don't like her, but she did what she needed to do in this debate. She stepped up. She started to form a platform and come out with ideas other than the I Hate Hillary Clinton cat platform, which is what she's been doing for a while. And Marco Rubio, yeah, if he got more questions, he definitely would have shined. But, yeah, you could definitely put those in the top two or top four.
What would your top two be?
Carly Fiorina won that debate hands down, and it hurts me to say that.
You're seeing that in the polls. I mean, I think that's undeniable at this point. She shot up in the polls, and she's sucking votes away from other people.
Yeah, and, oh, man, the second person. I mean, they all there's a lot more losers than winners, but I'm biased. I'm going to go with Rand Paul. He did a great job explaining his issues, especially on medical marijuana, foreign policy, his tax reform. He got that out there. I don't know if people listened, but he explained his ideas. He called Trump for what he was, the high school bully, and I think he did a great job handling Donald Trump.
Rand Paul definitely has the most unique campaign out of all the different candidates that were on that stage. And I do think that he did a good job with messaging on a number of the domestic issues. I think he's having a little bit of a trouble when it comes to communicating with Republicans, the non-intervention. Not that it's a bad message, not that he doesn't have good points, but I feel like a lot of Republicans are just sold on the idea, oh, something's bad over there, so let's go get him. And it's kind of hard to convince people to get over that mentality. I feel like that's having a little hard time getting traction in the Republican Party specifically.
Yeah, actually, I wrote this down around 8:44. He was asked about foreign policy, and he used the term isolation, and he used it in a negative way, trying to get that tone out there that he's not an isolationist, that he would arm the Kurds, and he would arm the correct people and would intervene if it was in the best interest of the nation, which the other candidates just want to intervene in everything. If you listen to Lindsey Graham, he just wants to bomb everything he can possibly bomb.
I have to admit, full disclosure, I have endorsed Rand Paul, and I have to agree that I think he has the best foreign policy platform, which I would describe as peace through strength, not war by reflex. But I do think that a lot of Republicans look at issues like ISIS and they don't understand the concept that sending troops back on the ground isn't necessarily the best decision, because they see this problem, they see how it is a threat to the United States, and they don't think, oh, hey, this is because of this thing we did back then, and doing something about this now isn't going to work, because even if, say, for example, we stay in for 8 years, if the presidency goes to the Democrats next time, which historically it will, they're just going to pull us out, and we're going to be back here with more debt doing the same thing all over again.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't realize that the Middle East has been a conflict for hundreds of thousands of years, and they think that we can just go in there and solve all these problems, and we just can't. It's not our region, it's not our people, and I don't like mindlessly sending our brothers and sisters over there to die for some thought. I mean, we could have avoided all of this. You know, you go back to 9/11, and you go, well, how did Bin Laden do what he did? Well, if the Soviets beat Bin Laden in Afghanistan, 9/11 probably wouldn't have happened. But we intervened in someone else's war, and this was an outcome of it.
And
ISIS is the same thing. We went over there, we took out Iraq, created this giant void. ISIS took control over the region. If we do it in Syria, we're going to get the same result.
And I don't want to spend the entire time focusing on any one particular issue, because we are covering the debate today. But I do want to focus on the quote you mentioned where he accused others of being an isolationist. It was really good timing for that quote, because he was pointing out how many of them didn't want to talk to Russia anymore. And how he would, even if he distrusts them, such as Iran, such as Russia, he'd be still open to talking to them even in a state of hostility, which historically is the way the United States has always done things, to be able to talk to another nation in a position of power so that we can keep the ball rolling and influence them in other ways and have war as a last resort rather than, cutting off the dialogue and basically making war inevitable.
And what an amazing place for him to do that, the Ronald Reagan Library with Air Force One right behind him. If Ronald Reagan didn't have a conversation with Russia, who knows what would have happened? And trust me, nuclear war was a lot closer back then than it is now.
Now I gotta give props to one question that Donald Trump answered, because I actually thought he gave a good answer on one question. Believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do think that Donald Trump gave a good answer when he was asked about Syria. I think he did his homework, because he had that misstep talking about the Quds Force, and in his answer about Syria, he said that he believes that we should back off and let the Russians go in on the ground, and the Russians should be able to secure Syria because they want to. And I think that's actually a pretty good solution when it comes to that issue.
Yeah, I mean, we should be looking at, where is the Middle East? Well, it's closer to Europe than it is to North America. So I have no problem with North Europe taking care of that. And if it's Russians who takes care of it, good for them. If they want to get entangled into a war that they've lost in that region before, and if they want to spend the time, money, effort, and they want to lose their sons and daughters to that, then let them do it. Donald Trump did have a couple of good other points throughout the night, but he just has such a high school bully approach to things.
I think he also... go ahead.
And I think he peaked because of it, calling out Carla Fiorina because of her looks. It's like, how do I take you serious at that point? You're calling, her face is funny looking. It's like, okay. I haven't said things like that since high school.
Well, I think it's also biting him in the butt, because he's not only is he saying those things, which actually all the media that was generated from him saying those things was kind of driving his campaign for the longest time, but he's saying those things and then later on in other interviews taking them back. And it's almost like, I work in top 40 radio. It's almost like what I watch in radio when it comes to the Kim Kardashians and the anything else, Kanye West and things like that. It's the same sort of pattern, the reality show pattern of, causing drama and then acting like you didn't cause drama. And I think in the long run, we're seeing that it's definitely biting him in the butt. People are seeing what he's getting up to and what he's all about. And it's not about the facts of the matter, because as soon as they started getting into the substance and less of the drama, which was later on in the debate, you didn't hear as much from Trump.
Right, yeah. Because he, as he openly admits it, he is not prepared for debates. He is not a politician. So when it comes to actual thoughts and telling people plans and actions, he can't do it. He has bought and sold a lot of emotions, but that's not how you become president. You have to have ideas. And he said something around the lines of, well, I'll get the best people together on day one and we'll solve it then. It's like, I don't want a presidential candidate to know months from now what he's going to do. I would like him to do it before he gets the job.
Now, I think when it comes to the debate and we're looking at all the different candidates, this many candidates, even in 3 hours, it's hard to balance out the timing of all of them. But I think it was noticeable that Mike Huckabee didn't get asked many questions. Scott Walker didn't get asked many questions. Ted Cruz didn't get asked many questions. I don't think it hurt Huckabee and Cruz as much as it hurt Walker, though. I think Walker's big opportunity was this debate, and he needed to come out swinging to get that attention. He just didn't, and I think that's why his campaign's imploding.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And when you've got Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee, and they're brilliant. And when Ted Cruz was asked a question, he handled it like a professional. I love seeing Ted Cruz get asked questions, but you're right. He only got asked like 2 or 3 questions. It's like, yeah, and then he's such a polite guy. He didn't enter into any back and forth. And, people were saying about, the first debate where, well, Rand Paul was just out there being a bully. He's like, well, he only got asked 2 questions. So he needed to come out and do that.
Even responding to the different questions that there, even just responding and putting himself out there, he had the least amount of time out of anybody.
Yeah, Ted Cruz did the professional thing, and he went straight to the point. He's going to answer your question like a professional, and he's not going to waste time. Now, it doesn't work because when there's 11 people up there, CNN's trying to pin people against each other. You can't really win a debate by only just straight up answering the question.
And that might actually be why they weren't asking very many questions to Mike Huckabee, because if you noticed, Mike Huckabee doesn't really say bad things about the other candidates.
Nope.
So they had no material to go on other than the social issues, which is maybe it was just me, but I don't think I heard them ask Mike Huckabee on any foreign issues. I don't think they asked him on any anything outside of social issues, really.
Yeah, no, I think they went after people's where Fox News openly said they're going to go after people's weaknesses. CNN went after people's strengths. So they went to Huckabee and they asked him about his social policies, because that's what Huckabee is known to do right now. He's all about social issues.
Absolutely.
There was a reason why when they asked about medical marijuana, they went after Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
Because they knew he has a strong stance on it. They didn't go to Huckabee, who has a strong stance on the 10th Amendment, but hasn't really said much about medical marijuana.